Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Let's do a quick preview of the docket. First, why does everyone think Costa Rica is a place to go when you're on the lam? Amber Heard could have more trouble this time in Australia. The civil case is allowed to go forward for the Petito family. Interesting ruling. Dylan Round's mother speaks. More crime in New York. A cold case is finally solved, and then our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. Let's go ahead and open the docket for Thursday, July 30th, 2022. Now, before we do get to the docket, remember, subscribe if you have not, like if you do, leave me a comment, hit that little bell so that you can receive notifications when we go live or put up new content. And remember, you can always listen to us anytime, day or night, any location in the world, by simply downloading us on your favorite podcasting app. All right, that includes Spotify, iHeart, as well as Apple. All right, let's get to the docket. First, Austin police have obtained a murder warrant in the death of pro cyclist Anna Maria Mo Wilson. Now, quick background before we get to the new update. First, Austin police found Wilson, 25, riddled with gunshot wounds in a friend's home around 10 p.m. on May 11th. The California resident is one of the country's top pro cyclists and was visiting Texas ahead of a competition when she went out for an evening with Colin Strickland, another pro cyclist whom police describe as Armstrong's boyfriend. Now, moments after Strickland dropped Wilson off that evening, according to investigators, Armstrong's SUV showed up on surveillance video outside. Now, the same day, an anonymous caller told Austin police that Armstrong had recently obtained a handgun. Now, months earlier, according to the tipster, she allegedly grew furious after learning that Strickland was involved in a romantic relationship with Wilson, her boyfriend. Police said that one of the two 9mm handguns they recovered at Strickland's home was significant to the investigation. Now, Armstrong may have visited her sister at a campground about 120 miles away from the New York City airport. Then her last known whereabouts were at the Newark International Airport in New Jersey, which is about 120 miles away from the camp back on May 18th. Now, the U.S. Marshal said that they did not find a record of any departing flights in her name. Now, a day before, Kaitlin Armstrong was seen in New Jersey. This is the sister who allegedly obtained a New York State's driver's license. So police in Austin previously said they'd already recovered a handgun used to kill Wilson after searching Strickland's home, where Armstrong also lived. Now, the U.S. Marshals announced Thursday morning, 43 days into the manhunt, and said that she had been arrested and captured on Wednesday. So the Costa Rican authorities assisted U.S. law enforcement in tracking Armstrong to a hotel on the Santa Teresa beach. The Marshal Service elevated Kaitlin Armstrong's investigation to major crime status early in the investigation, and Armstrong is expected to be deported to face justice in the United States, where she's obviously been charged with murder and unlawfully fleeing prosecution, and which likely played a key role in her capture 43 days on the run. Now, the question is, why does everyone always think Costa Rica is a non-extraditable country? I hear that all the time. Should I leave the country? Should I go to Costa Rica? Well, guess what? Costa Rica has a long-standing extradition treaty with the United States, and extradition is an action wherein one jurisdiction delivers a person accused of or convicted of committing a crime in another jurisdiction over to the other jurisdiction's law enforcement. It is a cooperative law enforcement procedure between the two jurisdictions, and it depends on the arrangements. Now, the non-extraditable countries, wait till you hear this list: Serbia, United Arab Emirates, which may not be too bad, but I hear it gets really hot there, Namibia, Cambodia, and yes, that's right, Belarus, right next to the Ukraine, basically controlled by Russia. Now, Russia, for example, will not cooperate with the U.S., even though they do have extradition treaties. For example, they refused to return Edward Snowden to the United States despite considerable diplomatic pressure. So just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. There's very few places you can go. Oh, and I guess we should probably throw in, I think Cuba won't extradite you back. But most countries don't want criminals running around there, so unless you pay somebody off, it's going to be tough. All right, next on the docket, Amber Heard is facing yet another potential legal battle, this time in Australia. Now, just weeks after losing the high-profile defamation trial against her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, the actress is the subject of an ongoing perjury investigation related to court proceedings stemming from her infamous visit to Queensland, Australia, with Johnny Depp back in 2015, when she broke Australia's strict quarantine and biosecurity laws by failing to declare the former couple's Yorkshire Terriers, Pistol and Boo, when she flew into the country. Now, Heard was charged with 2 counts of illegally importing animals in July of 2015. However, the case was closed when she pled guilty to falsifying travel documents in a Gold Coast court in April of 2016. The actress's dog smuggling saga was given new life in October of 2021 when Australian officials were investigating Heard for perjury over claims that she lied to authorities about the circumstances in which her dogs were brought into the country. Now, the Australian Department of Agriculture, Water, and Environment has now confirmed that the case is still ongoing. So I guess we'll have to wait and see if something's going to happen more, worse, bad to Amber Heard. It just shows you got to just follow the law and keep your mouth shut. This next case will tell you to keep your mouth shut. Like many Americans, we got a dog during the pandemic. My quarantine dog, Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Now, Miss Winnie has grown accustomed to being around us all the time. When we were leaving the house, Winnie would have extreme anxiety, so we decided to look for natural products to help with her anxiety. We looked for the highest quality CBD treats, and we were not satisfied, and neither was Winnie. So we created a high-quality CBD product that absorbs faster and provides the required results faster. Baked in Colorado, CBD treats and beverage enhancers are made with nanotechnology. The nanotechnology makes the CBD extraction more pure, also allows for Baked in Colorado products to work faster. Baked in Colorado products can help reduce your pet's anxiety, ease joint pain, and help with your dog's skin problems. Go to our online store and see what Baked in Colorado product is best for your dog. When you order at bakedincolorado.com, enter code WINNIE and receive 15% off your first order. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If your dog does not experience the desired results in 30 days, return the product and we will refund your money. No questions asked. So the family of Gabby Petito won the right to sue the parents of Brian Laundrie after the judge ruled that the Laundrie's attorney, remember, the Laundrie's attorney made objectively outrageous statements during the nationwide search for the missing van life girl. Now, the Petito lawyer, Patrick Riley, argued that the Laundrie attorney, Stephen Bertolino, provided false hope and caused emotional distress when he made statements about the search last year while allegedly knowing Petito was dead. On behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. That's the statement that Mr. Bertolino made at the time. Well, Judge Hunter Carroll said Bertolino's comments allowed for Nicholas Schmidt and the former husband, Joseph Petito, to seek $30,000 in damages against Christopher and Roberto Laundrie. Now, the court stated because the Laundrie statement by their attorneys in the context of this unique set of facts of this case is objectively outrageous. The court concludes that plaintiff, the Petitos, have stated cause of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress against the Laundries. Now, the court went on and said this case is not simply about the silence of Roberta and Christopher Laundrie, who knew their son had brutally murdered Gabby Petito. The court said it was also about their callous refusal, despite pleas from the Petito family, to speak out about whether or not Gabby was alive or if location of the body could be determined. It's about a course of conduct that they committed when they learned on August 28th of 2021 that their son had brutally murdered Gabby Petito. If the facts of this case were truly about silence with no affirmative act by the Laundries, the court would have resolved this case in the Laundries' favor on the concept of legal duty, the judge stated. But they did not stay silent. Bertolino, the attorney, did not immediately respond to any request for comments. Now, as you may recall, Petito's remains were eventually discovered on September 19th of 2021 in the Teton National Forest in Wyoming. She and Laundrie had lived with his parents in Northport, Florida, West Coast. The young couple set off on an adventure from New York State, where her mother lives, in early July, heading west. However, on September 1st, Brian arrived back at the Laundrie home on his own in Gabby's white Ford van. 10 days later, anxious Schmidt reported her daughter missing after last having contact via the phone on August 25th. Now, hours after Gabby's mom raised the alarm, Northport police hauled the white van off the Laundrie's driveway and took it in for a forensic examination. Officers asked to speak to Brian at the house, but were told by his parents he wasn't available. It is not known if the killer was inside the house at the time. Now, Laundrie then went missing in the 25,000-acre Carlton Reserve near his home, sparking a massive manhunt involving the local police, the FBI, and at least 2 sheriff's departments. His parents initially told police he vanished on September 14th to go hiking in the reserve, but later changed this to a day earlier. His body was eventually found in the swamps on October 20th after his parents broke cover and joined law enforcement there. Now, a notebook found with him included a confession that he had in fact murdered Gabby. So this is an interesting situation. The attorney, Mr. Bortolino, may want to contact his malpractice carrier, and maybe he can have protection for the alleged malpractice that maybe took place here. So this ruling was based upon a motion to dismiss. Now, you have to understand, the court has to take a motion to dismiss and all the facts that are in the complaint as true. It doesn't mean that they will turn out to be true or the facts will change through the discovery process. It just simply means that the case can and will go forward. Now, it's always interesting when it comes to what attorneys can say and can't say. They can say just about anything in court and they have immunity. But you say something outside, maybe you don't. You have to be very careful. The question is going to become, what did the attorney actually know? When did he know it? And how do you get around attorney-client privilege at that point? It's going to be interesting, but the attorney may want to contact his malpractice carrier to see if he has protection on this. Now, it's not a whole lot of money, $30,000, but I understand it's the Petito's family's kind of principle of the matter, that they want to let the world know that the Laundries did not act in good faith. We'll see how the case shakes out. All right, Dylan Rounds, his mother speaks out, and she says that Dylan was obviously, from a very young age, dreamed of one day owning his own farm. And about 3 years ago, she says the teen purchased hundreds of acres of land in the remote Utah desert and began making his dream a reality. Now, Dylan was out building his life, according to his mom, Candace Cooley, and his lifelong dream was to have his own farm. He had spent the last 2 summers ripping out and redeveloping the ground on his own. He had got his water rights. He did everything. And this year, his grain was finally coming up. He finally had a crop, she says. He got his pivot up. It was a fully functioning farm. And then he disappeared. Now, Cooley says her 19-year-old son last spoke to the grandmother on May 28th and told her that he was moving his grain truck from his camper in Lucin in northwest Utah, near the Nevada border, to his shed about 5 miles away because it started to rain. She stated he just had to get his grain truck in the shed because it was raining and he didn't want his seed to get ruined, according to his mom. Now, Cooley, who lives in Idaho, found out on May 30th that nobody in the family had spoken to him since that time. She stated that I would go 3 or 4 days without talking to him, and then I'd talk to him 5 days in a row, she claims. But he was always in contact with somebody. So when we all put together that nobody had talked to him, that's when we headed down to the farm. Once they arrived, Cooley says they found his grain truck in the shed. A search and rescue team later discovered his boots behind a pile of dirt, and those were his only pair of boots, his mother says. His camper was also searched. There was no wallet, no phone, according to Mom. Now, Ms. Cooley adds that the key fob to his pickup was also missing and the truck was locked. She states that Dylan never locked anything, and his pistol was also gone. And it's hard to say, as much as I hate to say it, I'm about 99% sure that somebody murdered her son. That's what she believes. And if somebody is involved with Dylan's disappearance, she claims they need to know were not going to go away. Now, the Box Elder Sheriff's Office has stated that they are going to continue to search. If this takes months, if it takes years, they're going to continue to keep knocking on doors. Now, his mom says that if he was okay, he would have shown up by now, so we can't rule out that he's not okay and that somebody may have been involved in his disappearance. Now, Dylan's truck was also power washed and the driver's seat was moved completely forward, according to his mom. She states that she's about 4'11". Dylan's between 5'10" and 5'11", and the pickup seat was all the way forward to the point where she did not have to move it forward at all. And she also said that the truck was in four-wheel drive, and Dylan's four-wheel drive had been busted since the winter. And she states that he would never put it in four-wheel drive. Somebody else drove that pickup truck, according to her. Now, she also states that Dylan would never just run off. She said that that kid was so dedicated. That farm was his life. You're talking about a kid who had access to $60,000 for tractor parts and all kinds of stuff, and nothing. No money's been spent. Nothing's been touched. Nothing. His mother states that I wish I had the comfort of saying, yeah, he's out gambling. But she says, I don't even have the comfort to say that because it wouldn't happen. Now, both the FBI and the Box Elder County Sheriff's Department are now involved in the investigation. The family is offered up to a $100,000 reward leading to the information of his whereabouts. And if anybody has that information, please contact the Box Elder County Sheriff at 435-723-5227. All right, some more crime in New York. I know it's everywhere, but this is a little bit just outrageous. So Aziza Johnson, she's 20 years old. She was shot on the Upper East Side Wednesday evening while walking her infant in a stroller. Now, the victim's mother, Lisa Desort, has told individuals that the gunman is the baby's father who abused the victim. She also claimed that they had called police numerous times for her protection. Now, it's alleged that the gunman approached Johnson on the street and shot her once in the head at a very close range. The 3-month-old baby that was in the stroller was unharmed, but the mother did not survive. Now, a person of interest has apparently been identified by the NYPD, and they are probing domestic violence as a possible motive. The grisly incident occurred in one of the city's safest neighborhoods, not far from the mayor's mansion. It can happen anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. It can happen anywhere. And those protection orders are worth about as much as the paper they're written on. All right, a cold case has been solved. Now, the husband of a murdered Ohio woman who was found rolled into a carpet almost 25 years ago was named the killer by the Utah authorities just yesterday, putting an end to the cold case that dates back to 1998. Now, using advanced DNA technology, state police determined that Lena Reyes Geddes was killed by now deceased husband Edward Geddes. Now, Renee Geddes was found on the side of a Utah road near Maiden Water Spring by a passerby. She had been covered in plastic bags, wrapped in duct tape, tied with a rope, and then thrown into a sleeping bag before she was wrapped in carpet. Now, Utah State Bureau of Investigation agent Brian Davis has stated that after several failed attempts in the past, authorities were able to pull DNA evidence from the rope using a specialized vacuum. Because Geddes killed himself in 2001 and was cremated, police needed to get DNA from 2 relatives to compare the DNA on the rope, Davis said, which brought back a positive match for Geddes. Another set of male DNA was found on the rope, but that person was later ruled out. Now, after the victim was found in April of 1998, her remains were not identified by local sheriff's department, and the case went cold, according to the police. She was not reported missing by her husband, but by an aunt of hers who lived in Mexico 5 months after she was last seen alive. When the case did go cold, and up until 2018, the Utah and Ohio authorities both released photos of Renee Geddes around the same time. The Utah photo was of the Jane Doe found, and the Ohio photo stemmed from a missing persons case, which led the two agencies to link up. The victim's sisters traveled from Mexico to provide a DNA sample, and police were able to confirm Renee Geddes was the Jane Doe. Now, Geddes claimed when police interviewed him back in 1998 that his wife was traveling from Ohio to Texas and then to Mexico. but Davis believes that Reyes Geddes was killed in Ohio and then transported to Utah. He's unsure why Geddes traveled more than 1,800 miles to dump the body, and prior to the DNA piece, there was only circumstantial evidence that pointed to Geddes as the killer. But at least as technology improves, the family finally has some closure. And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Please meet Ignacio Dali Muñoz Colon. Well, he was taken into custody Monday and charged with exposure of sexual organs. Now you may ask, what does Mr. Colon do for a living? Well, that's right. He's a pastor. And what did he do to get charged with sexual exposure? That's right, of his organs? Well, he was pleasuring himself outside of a Starbucks. Now, apparently authorities had begun an investigation ever since they received a report of a man pleasuring himself on the patio at Starbucks as far as May 9th. The deputy said they eventually identified Muñoz Colon as the suspect and determined he'd been previously charged over a similar incident at the same Starbucks. So it would appear that past performance is indicative of future results. Be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. There's some weird ones. All right, let's go ahead and close the docket. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. We're heading into the long July 4th weekend. I will be traveling tomorrow, but we will have a show for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.